Okay, so we've got a slightly different video for you guys today. So this is based on an issue that we've got at home where we had a side extension done about 10 years ago, and that goes into a soakaway in the garden. We previously used another Hoselock pump that gave up the ghost after 4 or 5 years. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a look at this new updated pump. We're going to use some of the parts from our old pump, and we'll show you what we are actually using this for. So this is just a garden pump basically. It is used to pump water out from water butts and similar places so that you can water the garden in those hard to reach places. The problem that we had is that because our soakaway is only 1 cubic metre, when we get about 3 or 4 days of rain, the soakaway overflows all over the patio, floods it completely. So we've been using a pump to pump out all of the excess water from the drain once the drain fills up, to stop it erupting all over the patio and having the patio sat there in 3 inches of water. Unfortunately, eventually the old one, because it doesn't like sitting outside in the water, gave up the ghost, but it did last for about eight years or so, so it wasn't too bad. So in here we've got the hose. So this is I could do with a bit more flexibility on this, to be honest, because we found that ours, after it's sitting out in the cold weather, it does get quite brittle. You've got a basic filter on the bottom of it, so this is a solid particle filter, so it filters out all of the big rubbish from getting inside the pump, which is that. Then on the top side we've got some hose adapters. So this is an opener used for where the filter, it's got a built-in filter, so these are adapters to connect your hoses. Bit of documentation, and then the pump itself. God, it's quite heavy, so let's remove the box. Whew. And let's unpack the pump. Okay, so what have we got here? This looks much better already compared to the old one. So the old pump that we had was, it almost looked like it was an inside only pump. This one looks a little bit better, where you've got just a single switch here that's covered with a rubber waterproof cover. So on the old one it was just a switch on the side of it. We'll show you the old one. On the back it's got an enclosed housing, completely enclosed housing. What you want to do is make sure that everything still remains out of the rain for as long as you can. Inside the block here, this is where the pump is, just along the top here. But basically the water goes in here with the tool, which will show you. So this is a tool for opening a variety of devices. So you've got the larger one here, which is for the filter. So we put that on there. That should just unscrew, which it does. So you've got your seal around the top here, the rubber seal. Inside here we've got our filter, which can completely unclip. So if, when you want to wash it out, you've got 4 little clips on the bottom, but you want to make sure that you don't do that when it's freezing cold and brittle, so you don't snap the tabs off. Make sure that it's up to room temperature before you take that off and give it a thorough clean out. So that's that. So that's the access hatch for the filter. That just pushes down, sits in there like that, and then you've got the cap that screws on, making sure that you screw it on nice and tight. And then under here at the front here, again you've got a little O-ring seal around there, and then on the actual hose you've got another O-ring, so make sure that you don't lose the O-rings because they are required to keep it airtight so that you get a good flow through. What we're going to do on ours, we're actually going to do something slightly different, and we'll show you that later. On our old pump it came with an external filter, so if it's the same thread, I'm not sure if it is, but if it's the same thread, I'm going to stick the additional filter on the outside here, so with the hose, so when the hose feeds the water in, it's going to go through one filter and then it's going to go through the second filter into the pump, and then on the top one here again you've got another O-ring, so useful that they're putting these on here because you can use these as spares. And then in here you've got your selection of adapters. So for the high speed hose, what you want to do is you want to put your surface mount on there. Now there's no O-ring there, so here's the O-ring, and you want to again make sure that you keep this safe, don't lose it, because that is required to give you a good seal. This is what's called the adapter block, and again you've got an O-ring on the top here for a good seal. So the way that this works is this will screw the smaller one into there like that. Then on the top you can add your hose out function with the O-ring seal in there, so that just screws down nice and tight. And again you can put this at any angle that you want, but I suggest to avoid any leaks you put it back round over to the front. And then on here, this is where your hose fits, so you plug one hose end into here. So you can see it's a huge it takes a range of different size hoses, but we're using a standard garden hose, so that just plugs onto the end there. That goes over the hose pipe first, screw that in to tighten it, and then once you've got that hose attached, that just clips over the front like that, and it should give you a nice tight seal, which there's another O-ring there, so that should just push on there and clip on like that, which is correct, I think. Yep. Again, make sure that you don't lose the O-rings. Now let's just have a look around the side here at the size of the cable. So the cable is not a particularly long cable, but for us it's fine. It will plug into our outside socket. Okay, so here's the filter from our old pump. It's got a flow direction here, so incoming flow will go from the pipe goes into here, and then the flow goes into the unit here. So if you haven't got one of these, that's absolutely fine. The filter should do a good job in filtering out all of the rubbish. However, what I would say is if you're going to be using this from a soakaway or a really filthy, dirty pit, you might want to have an additional filter on here. Now, if you haven't got another Hoselock pump that you had previously, then you're not going to have one of these, but I believe you can buy these filters separately. So all we've attached this, which was on our old one, so the threads are identical, so we should be able to screw this into here. Should only need doing once, and the filter needs to be at the bottom like that. So So that's all there is to it. So what we've got, yes, it looks a little bit longer. That's absolutely fine. But what we want to do is we want to make sure that we filter out all of the larger particles and the dirt from the water, so it makes the pump last a bit longer. As I said, we're going to be using this from a drain that goes into a soakaway. So that is all the rainwater, and it is pretty filthy dirty, so we want to make sure that we double filter the water to make sure that the pump lasts for as long as possible. Okay, so as you can see here, we've got the external pipe now going into the drain that's fed from the soakaway that's under the lawn. And then we've got the pump connected here. Okay, so once you've got your pump all connected up, like so. Excuse me, dog, mind the dog. You want to fill it up with clean water, so this is just standard tap water. You're going to prime the pump by filling this up in here. Till it's topped up to the top. Screw the cap on, like so. Let's just check this as well. Okay, so I can see water in there, so let's add a bit in here. Okay, there we go. So that is now priming. Need to fill it up in both places, that's all. Right, clip that on, turn that on. We should see, there we go, we've got the water up in the filter now. Okay, so that's now pumping effectively. So let's go round, have a look at the garden. So there we've got the water now coming out effectively. It's got good high pressure, so it's ideal for a water sprinkler or for watering your garden. I'm just going to put that back in there for now. Okay. So let's have a look. So that's the external filter, filtering out all the big stuff, and then we're using the internal filter in there as well to make sure that's all nice and clean. So the only thing that this doesn't have, it doesn't have an automatic shut off when your water butt or water storage area is empty, so you want to make sure that you do keep an eye on it, because you don't want this to run dry, otherwise you will ruin it and it won't last as long. But that's all there is to it. If you found that video useful, give it a thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.